Good morning. I want you to consider a word so common that you have already encountered it at least a dozen times since I began speaking. It is the single most frequent word in the English language, appearing over 23 billion times in Google's web corpus alone. And yet, remarkably, one American university spent 3 years and considerable legal resources to claim exclusive commercial rights to it. Today we explore the, a three-letter function word that sits quietly at the heart of nearly every English sentence, and whose story is far more compelling than its size suggests. Here is our roadmap. We begin with the striking numerical reality of the, its sheer dominance in the language. Then we trace its origins from Old English demonstrative pronouns, define what it actually does grammatically, review the 8 core rules that govern its use, examine its statistical ubiquity, and finally turn to the remarkable legal story of how The Ohio State University managed to trademark this most common of all words. Let that number sink in, 23.1 billion. That is the count of the in Google's trillion-word corpus of web English. It is not merely the most common article, it is the most common word, period. More frequent than of, more frequent than and, more frequent than a. If you sampled every word ever typed on the English language web, about 1 in every 20 would be this tiny, unassuming 3-letter function word. Its dominance is so complete that we rarely stop to notice it. Let us now travel back in time, more than a millennium, to the origins of this word. It did not spring into existence fully formed. It descends from the Old English demonstrative pronoun system, a rich inflectional paradigm that marked gender, number, and case. The word article itself comes from the Latin articulus, meaning a small joint or member, a fitting etymology for a word that connects and articulates our nouns. The journey from si to the ye is a story of grammatical simplification spanning over 1,000 years. Here is the evolutionary arc in 4 stages. In Old English, the definite article was not one word, but a set of gendered demonstratives, se for masculine nouns, seo for feminine, and that for neuter, all fully declinable. By the Middle English period, the system had collapsed dramatically, gender and case distinctions eroded, and the forms merged into the, spelled with the letter thorn, which eventually became our modern the. Notice the final milestone. In 2022, a university successfully claimed a commercial trademark over this very word, bringing a linguistic history of over 1,500 years into the domain of intellectual property law. So what exactly does this word do? The definite article's core function is deceptively simple. It tells the listener, you already know which one I mean. It is fundamentally a marker of shared knowledge. When I say pass me the book, I am asserting that there is a specific, identifiable book in our shared context. This is why we use the for unique entities, the sun, the pope, the internet. There is only one, so no further specification is needed. The British Council notes a fascinating extension. The can also generalize across an entire class, as in the wolf is not really a dangerous animal, where the singular with the stands for all wolves. The distinction between definite and indefinite is the single most important conceptual opposition in the English article system, and it is one that speakers of article-less languages like Turkish, Russian, or Chinese often find maddeningly subtle. Let me illustrate with a minimal pair. Pass me the book versus pass me a book. The first sentence presupposes a specific book in shared awareness. The second asks for any book at all. The entire semantic difference, specificity, identifiability, shared knowledge, rides on whether we choose the or a. This is not a trivial distinction. It structures how English speakers conceptualize reference itself. Preply identifies 8 core rules that capture the vast majority of definite article usage in English. Some of these are intuitively obvious to native speakers. We never say sun rises in east, we say the sun rises in the east. But for learners, these rules represent years of practice. Notice rules 5 through 8. These are the ones that most frequently trip up even advanced learners. Why the United States but not the Canada? Why the Thames but not the Lake Windermere? The answer lies in the hidden logic of proper nouns and the way English distinguishes between administrative entities and simple place names. Preply identifies 8 core rules that capture the vast majority of definite article usage in English. Some of these are intuitively obvious to native speakers. We never say sun rises in east, we say the sun rises in the east. But for learners, these rules represent years of practice. Notice rules 5 through 8. These are the ones that most frequently trip up even advanced learners. Why the United States but not the Canada? Why the Thames but not the Lake Windermere? The answer lies in the hidden logic of proper nouns and the way English distinguishes between administrative entities and simple place names. We have examined the origins and the grammar. Now let us turn to the sheer statistical reality of the. Its ubiquity is so profound that it borders on invisibility. We literally do not see it anymore. But this very pervasiveness is what makes the linguistically significant. The most frequent words in any language are its grammatical backbone. They are the words that structure every sentence, that children acquire first, that survive brain injury when content words are lost. The is not merely common, it is foundational. 4 statistics that, together, tell the story of the. 23.1 billion, the raw count from Google's trillion-word corpus, placing it firmly at number 1, ahead of, and, to, and every other word. Its ancestors see remind us that this word has been doing its job for well over 1,000 years. And then the final figure, 2019 to 2022, the 3-year period during which The Ohio State University fought to claim this ancient, ubiquitous word as its own commercial property. These 4 numbers span linguistics, history, and law. Now we arrive at the most unexpected chapter in the story of the. In 2019, The Ohio State University, note the in its official name, filed an application with the United States Patent and Trademark Office seeking to register the word the as a trademark for branded merchandise. The USPTO initially refused. The university appealed. What followed was a nearly 3-year legal battle, culminating in June 2022 with the university's victory. The story raises profound questions about language, ownership, and the commodification of the most common word in English. This is what the trademark battle was ultimately about, not the word itself as a linguistic object, but the as a piece of cultural identity. For decades, students, alumni, and fans of Ohio State have emphasized the definite article when pronouncing the university's name, not just Ohio State, but the Ohio State University. The legal victory was less about restricting language. Nobody needs permission to say the, and more about codifying a cultural practice into a marketable brand. It is, in its own way, a testament to how even the smallest and most overlooked words can carry enormous social meaning. Now we arrive at perhaps the most profound question. What does this tiny word tell us about how the human mind works? Linguists have long observed that the definite article encodes what is called the given new contract. In any conversations, speakers constantly signal whether information is already shared or brand new. The carries this entire cognitive burden in just 3 letters. It marks that the listener can identify the referent from prior context, shared experience, or general world knowledge. It is remarkable that the most frequent word in English is not a concrete noun like time or person, but a function word whose sole purpose is managing shared attention between minds. Languages that lack a definite article, such as Russian, Japanese, or Turkish, must use word order, context, or other devices to accomplish the same cognitive task, which tells us that definiteness is a universal cognitive category, even when it is not grammatically marked on the surface. Let me bring together the threads of our journey through the. We have seen its deep history, a 1,000-year evolution from the Old English demonstrative pronoun se to the modern invariant form we use today. We have seen its statistical dominance, appearing roughly once in every 20 words, far ahead of any content word or other function word. We have explored the grammatical rules that native speakers internalize without ever being formally taught. And we have witnessed the surprising cultural moment when a major American university claimed this word as intellectual property. But our investigation also opens new questions about language acquisition, neurolinguistics, language change, and artificial intelligence that remind us how much remains to be understood about even the most familiar features of human language.